Hello students, let's talk a little bit more about Whimsy. Now, if you look at this image on the screen right now, you will see Starman in his Tesla Roadster in space. Why is Starman in his Tesla Roadster in space? Whimsy, good press, and just for the sake of it. But let's go back first and talk about some dog food. What dog food, you ask? Well, a bunch of dog food that was donated to animal shelters and dogs in need. But where did all this dog food come from? Well, first and foremost, you see there's a place called the port where ships come in. And they come in and they unload their cargo, everything that they've carried from China and Egypt and Peru, and brought it all into the big ports around Seattle. Now, the ports there have these big conveyor belts that have to handle all of this cargo that comes in. And these conveyor belts have to be very strong. And so after they put them in, they wanted to test them. But they didn't have anything to test them because there wasn't any cargo coming in because the conveyor belts hadn't been there. So they needed to buy something heavy to put on those cargo belts. Now, or conveyor belts. Now, because there's a bunch of moving parts and wheels under the conveyor belts. Now, they could have used grass seed, they could have used bottles of water, but they wanted to make a good impression, the port did. So what they did was they bought a bunch of dog food. Dog food is cheap, it's heavy, and it comes in bags that are a lot like the containers that the cargo was used in. So it was just a good item to test it with. Now, once they were done testing the conveyor belt, they had to get rid of the dog food. So they called up a wolf sanctuary and all of the pounds and animal control shelters, and they donated the dog food, and they had used so much dog food that they had too much to give away. And so the shelters made an announcement on the radio saying that anybody who wanted some free dog food could come and pick it up because they couldn't store it was so much. And this was good press. It made people feel good about the new Port Authority and the new conveyor belts. And it made people feel good about the dog shelter, and people got free food to give to their good boys. So everybody was really happy, and that's why the Port Authority chose something silly like dog food to test their conveyor belts. Now, Tesla, if you've heard of the company, not the man, but the company that makes the cars, is run by a guy named Elon Musk. And a lot of people are skeptical of any rocketry programs because they see it as just wasting money. So for NASA or the private companies, it's always been difficult to get people to like them. And so oftentimes they'll do something whimsical, just like the Sam Lab made the Mars rover Curiosity sing happy birthday to itself. Now, what Elon Musk tried to do with his Tesla was that he set his Tesla up and he had a rocket ship that he needed to test. And just like the conveyor belts, he needed something heavy to test in his rocket ship. And so he could have used rocks, he could have used dirt, he could have used all of the trash that his company had made instead of sending it to the dump. But he wanted to do something that would be good PR. He wanted to do something that would make people think about him and talk about him. So he got one of his shiniest Tesla Roadsters. He put an astronaut mannequin in it, named the mannequin Starman, and then sent Starman out among the stars. And that is how Starman was wandering the stars in a Tesla Roadster. And just about a year ago, the Starman and his Roadster passed Mars. Now, they're in an orbit, so they'll come back around. We'll see them again. But right now, Starman is in his Roadster, headed out past the red planet. So that's what I mean by adding a little whimsy. Now, we can't launch a shiny red car into space, but we can make our rovers look cool. So let's follow the rule of cool and learn how to add a little whimsy to our rovers.